If you're coming to Barcelona this October 2024, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the top activities, national holidays, and major events that are going on here in Barcelona, all to help you know what to do while you're here. But before we get started, after watching the video, make sure to go and download my October guide to Barcelona to take all of these ideas with you. It's complete with direct links to all of these activities and a map so that you can have everything all in one place. You're not going to have to take any notes, and you'll have all of the access while you're walking around Barcelona to make the most out of your time while you're here. It's also a great way to support the channel and just to say thanks. So either use the QR code you'll find right here or click on the link below. October is one of the best months to visit Barcelona. Weather-wise, you'll still be comfortable in a t-shirt and shorts during the day, but don't be surprised to find the locals already wearing some lighter coats. During the evenings, you'll probably want to have some jeans and maybe even a sweatshirt. It's not usually beach weather anymore, but you'll still find many people around the beach, especially with that America's Cup action in town. Average temperatures in October will see highs of 74, 23 Celsius, and lows of 63, 17 Celsius. While it's technically not high season, there really isn't a big drop in the number of people in Barcelona anymore, so you'll still want to reserve those must-visit attractions or events ahead of time. But you'll have a little bit more leeway, about a week or so before, and you should be good. All in all, the weather is great and there's so much to do while you're here. So let's get on with it, what you can do in Barcelona in October 2024. We're going to start some things off with some sports and what Barcelona matches you can catch while you're here in October. Now, while there currently is only one scheduled home game, which is going to be towards the end of the month on October 20th against Seville, the good news is that right away we have a possibility of having a Champions League match at home. Either the 1st or the 2nd, and then again later, the 22nd to the 23rd of October, there will be the possibility of having a home match for Barcelona in that Champions League. And while it isn't going to be a home game, October 27th is going to be our first Clásico of the year. It will be over in Madrid, but it's always a big match, so keep that in mind. If you're in town, make sure to be able to watch that game and see the two giants of Spanish football go at it. Now, apart from Barcelona, we also have Espanyol in town, and there are going to be two different matches for Espanyol at home. It's going to be the weekend of October 6th against Mallorca, and again on the 27th against Sevilla. And if you didn't catch that, the weekend of the 20th of October, Barcelona will be playing at home against Sevilla, and Espanyol will be hosting them the weekend of the 27th. So if you're a Sevilla fan and you're here for that week at the end of October, you've got two chances to watch Sevilla in Barcelona. Now remember, this far out, we don't have the specific dates or the times. Those dates that I'm giving you are going to be the weekend, so it could be that Saturday or Sunday. Just keep those calendars in mind and keep looking. As we get closer, we'll have a better idea of what day they actually are. The last big date in October for some football will be the 13th of the month, and it's going to be for the women's game where Barcelona will be hosting Espanyol. So you've got the crosstown rivalry going on, which I think will be a really fun thing to check out. Now, keep in mind that the women's team does not play in the very center of the city. They play just on the outside in Johan Cruyff Stadium, but it's always a great time. One of the best teams, the best team you're going to find in Europe, and they'll be hosting that crosstown rival, so make sure you check it out. Now, one of the events that has become pretty much a staple here in October in Barcelona is Oktoberfest, and this year it's going to be held for the 11th time. It's held over at the Montjuïc Fira, which is just at the base of the mountain, right outside of that Plaza de España. This is going to be from the 3rd to the 20th, but really it's only going to be about 12 days because it's held from the Thursday to the Sunday. So you've got those weekends to get on over and try out all sorts of different German beers. And if you can't make it over to the real Oktoberfest in Munich, you might as well stay in Barcelona and have a good time. You've got food, music, DJs, contests, all sorts of different contests like a Bavarian dress contest, and it's an event that has gotten more and more popular. People really liking it a lot and getting on over there. The tickets tend to go pretty fast. So if you want to go, make sure to get online and reserve your tables. You can wait until the day that you actually want to go, but you might have to wait in line for it. Another event that's hosted every year and actually starts on the same date is the Sitges Film Festival. This year, running from the 3rd to the 13th, the Sitges Film Festival has always been something that's focused a little bit more on horror films, but they've tried to amplify that and really open up to some more thrillers, sci-fi, all sorts of different things. This year is going to be the 57th edition, and it's always something that really captures a lot of people's imaginations. And getting down over to that seaside village of Sitges, which is only 40 minutes south of Barcelona, it's always a really well-known place to get over and check out the different beaches. I myself always recommend making sure to take advantage of those museums, but for this, you're definitely going to want to get over there, experience the city, and get a movie while you're there as well. The 7th of October is the Festa de Rosé, and what's more commonly known as the Neighborhood Festival of La Rambla. That's right, Barcelona's most famous street, basically acting as its own neighborhood, will be having its neighborhood festival not only just the 7th, but the weekend around it. Now, this is something that's set up by the Amics de la Rambla, or the Friends of the Rambla, and what they really want to do is introduce or reintroduce the Rambla to the locals here in Barcelona. With Barcelona's Rambla being so well known, so important, the most popular street that you're going to find in the city, locals don't always tend to get on to La Rambla and take advantage of what it has to offer. There are quite a few historic things to see while you're over there, but basically now it's become a place where tourists just walk up and down. So one of the things that the Friends wanted to do is reintroduce that Rambla to the people of Barcelona, and one of the things that they run is La Rambla en Flor. La Rambla historically has always been a place where you have a lot of florists, and the Friends, with the association and the guild of florists, is going to be decorating La Rambla from top to bottom. You should see all sorts of different expositions of flowers all up and down. Even some of the bigger shops or the bigger offerings that they have on La Rambla will be decorated. One of the things that I always like is that you do have a lot of itineraries, guided tours, and activities throughout. Now, the one public holiday that we have in October is on October 12th. This is Spain's national holiday with celebrations going on all around the country, but also known as El Día de la Hispanidad. Now, in Barcelona, it's not always one of the bigger days, but it is a day that you will find shops or stores closed throughout the city. This year, it being on a Saturday, we might see some of that on Friday, or definitely some people taking the day off on Friday, and it becoming one of those puente holidays that really becomes just a long weekend. Like I mentioned before, it's not always the biggest of celebrations over here, especially with the big push for independence, where you do find bigger celebrations on September 11th, the Day of Catalonia, than on October 12th. But last year, what they did have was España y Catalans, a group that set up a walk and a little bit of a demonstration that went from the Passeig de Gràcia and finishing up in the Plaça de Catalunya. Usually in the Plaça de Catalunya, you do find a lot more of those demonstrations with a lot of Spanish flags, and that's probably what you'll find the same this year. But if you're looking to get some of the bigger celebrations, you can definitely go over to the capital in Madrid, where they're going to have their big procession, the army out and everything. Or one of the things that I always like is getting over to Zaragoza, which is just about an hour train ride on the fast train towards Madrid, but stopping halfway, get off on Zaragoza. Not only are you going to see the celebrations for Spain's National Day, but is their big festival for their patron saint, El Pilar. And so what they're doing is they're celebrating all throughout the city for well over a week with concerts and all sorts of activities going on. And the 12th is always a big day. It being Saturday, it's always going to be even bigger. Now, this next event is always a little bit more of an atypical one, because when you hear about Spain, you always have this idea of flamenco, but when you hear of Barcelona, a lot of people come in and they think that that's not something that you should do while you're here in Barcelona. It's something much more touristy. And while yes, flamenco really does come from that south with all that immigration from the south up to Barcelona, there is a real history of the music here in the city. And what Ciutat Flamenco strives to do is really show off the importance of Barcelona and flamenco together, and what they've done to kind of develop that genre all around. Now, what you will find are different workshops, you will find different talks, and really concerts every single one of the days from the 17th to the 27th, really as an idea to see some flamenco here in Barcelona. I think it's a good one, something that might give you a little bit of a different perspective when we talk about that flamenco, especially here. And keep in mind that throughout the entire month, throughout the entire year, you can always catch a flamenco concert here in Barcelona. Some of the best places to do so are over at the Palau de la Música Catalana, the Palau d'Almases, or even over at the Tablao Cordobés, which is one of the emblematic places that'll be decorated for that festival over on La Rambla. One of the most unique events that you have during the month is El Mercat dels Mercats, and this is going to be held from the 18th to the 20th of the month, right in the center in the Plaça de Catalunya. It's one that I always recommend if you're here for to make sure to take advantage of, because if you're looking to check out some of the local and sustainable gastronomy that we have in Barcelona, here's your opportunity. One of the things that people always hear about before coming into the city is the Boqueria market, and rightfully so. It's the most popular, the largest of the markets that we have in Barcelona, and everybody gets over there on La Rambla. But it tends to be really busy, and what most people really want to try out afterwards is maybe a little bit more of a local market. There's so many all over Barcelona, and they don't just have produce and stands set up, but many of them have bars and restaurants on the inside. What El Mercat dels Mercats is doing is having those markets come together. You don't have to go to them. They're coming to you, and they're going to set up all these different stands right in the square. Some of them will be preparing the food right in front of you. We'll have some workshops as well, some talks about it, but you can try out all sorts of different food, some different drinks, and it's really a good time. Last year, I remember going over. It was pretty busy, to be honest with you, but there's always different things to try out over those 3 days that it'll be here. This year is the 13th edition, and it's basically running from 11 in the morning to 10 p.m. each of those nights. One of the events that'll get you out of the center of the city and over to the Now Bostik is the Mash Beer Festival. Now, don't be confused by the t-shirt. This year, it's running on the 25th and the 26th of October. And what I always like, apart from the venue, is you've got all sorts of different beers that you can check out. You've got this year probably over 45 different beers from all around the world and over 300 beers in total. They've got all sorts of different stands that'll be set up so you can try out all these different beers. Some of them might be different from Friday to Saturday, so if you're looking to get tickets, you can still get the full pass. Or you can get those individual tickets. The VIP tickets, unfortunately, have already been sold out because this is such a popular event. But you've got, apart from the beers over there, you've got a bunch of street food, some DJs for some live music, and it's always a good time. If you do get online before the concert, that full pass does come with a festival t-shirt, a festival glass, and some tokens to get you started. That same weekend, you've got one of the coolest events throughout the month, and one of my favorite events throughout the entire year in Barcelona. On the 26th and 27th of October, you've got Open House Barcelona, which is a full architectural weekend. The goal of the weekend is to promote architecture and its importance in the culture of Barcelona all throughout the city. Now, it's not going to be just taking place in Barcelona. There's about 6 other cities that get involved as well. And what they do is they open up some of the emblematic and some of the best buildings throughout the city that are usually closed to the public. Each year, those offerings change, and you've got different things that you can go and see. Pretty much open every single year are getting over to the Arc of Triumph. Now, if you've never been over there, you cannot go up the Arc of Triumph any day of the year, but during this weekend, it's one of the times that you can. Other years, I've been in 13th century Gothic palaces or even some other famous modernist buildings that I had never been in before. It's an extremely popular event and one that you definitely want to circle on your calendar. The 27th is also the end of daylight savings. I always point this out in the videos, even though that our phones change all of that automatically for us. It is something to keep in mind just so you don't oversleep, miss a reservation, or even worse, miss out on a flight. If you're going out that night, you gain an hour, so congratulations. But remember, October 27th, end of daylight savings time. October 31st is obviously Halloween over here in Barcelona as well. But despite the rise in popularity in the last couple of years, it's still not a huge holiday. Yes, you will find more kids dressing up, people heading out, and some offers throughout the city. Last year, I even got my first trick-or-treaters in the entire time that I've been here. Now, I didn't realize it was Halloween and obviously had no candy on me, and I felt so bad not being able to give them anything. So this year, I'm definitely going to be ready. But if you are looking to get into the spirit of things, you will find some different bars that are offering some different packages or even some special nights. It's probably going to be more of those American bars like Coco Vale, but you might find some things over at Belushi's as well. If you're looking to do some other sorts of activities, getting over to Poble Espanyol, usually they have some big events going on that day, or even to the Wax Museum where they have a big terror section, might be right up your alley. You've also got the possibility of joining different ghost tours if you want to find the scary stories all about Barcelona and things that have happened in the past. But remember, Halloween not being the big day, it actually is the next day. So if you are around, remember that November 1st is not only a public holiday, but it is a day that most people are going to stay at home and the city will be much quieter. Things that you can do to celebrate for yourself are have some panayets or some roasted sweet potato. But we'll talk about more of that in the November video. But the biggest event that's going to be going on in October is the America's Cup. It's in its final month of a 3-month competition. And right away at the beginning of the month, you've got the finals of the Louis Vuitton Cup. This is the competition between the 5 finalists, really, that have already been boiled down to 2, to see who is going to be the right to be the challenger to take on the defender, Team New Zealand. That's going on the first week of the month. Make sure that you can get online and check out specific dates if you're looking to go over and see any of the boats in action, because it's not going to be every single day. Both with the Cup, the America's Cup, and the Women's Cup that are going on all in October, you've got some reserve days played in as well. If you want to get up and close to the action, my recommendations are always going and checking out the Golondrinas boat, which will get you over to the action, a charter boat for yourself. Or if you want to take in everything, and the last moment that you really can is October for the America's Cup, get over and get the America's Cup 360-degree card, which will let you see everything from air, land, and sea. Not only do you have helicopter rides, the Golondrinas boat, but you've also got the America's Cup experience and a guided tour of that coastal area. That's going to be the first part of the month. Coinciding with that and running until the 13th, from the 5th to the 13th, you've got the America's Cup Women's Edition. This is the first one ever, so it'll be a really big event to check out, and hopefully something that starts to take place in every single one of the America's Cup after Barcelona. Last but not least, from the 12th to the 27th, you've got the America's Cup Final, which is going to be that challenger against Team New Zealand in a 1st to 7 races. Again, you've got all of those dates online that you can check out. Currently, everything is set up to end on the 27th, but that last week or so is really going to be some reserve days. So the 21st might be the last day if there's no sort of weather or just mechanical problems that are going on. Anyway, there are so many things that are going on with that America's Cup. It is the big major event of the year, not only in October, but all of 2024 in Barcelona. So you're definitely going to make sure to check it out. There are so many other things going on throughout that entire month connected to that America's Cup apart from the races. And to make sure that you know what all of those things are, watch this video next, which I made all about a full, complete guide to the America's Cup here in Barcelona.